Milestone experience is the best kind of experience in Dungeons and Dragons, and it's the only method you should ever use. That is what I'm going to be assuming for this video, and you're going to have to insight check me on this to see what I really believe, because this is one part of a video series of milestone experience, the regular way of handing it out, and a possible third method that we'll get into. But those two are for other videos, because this one's all about milestone, and I want to hear what your thoughts are on milestone down in the comments and see what side you're on, because right now we're going to talk about how amazing it is. So after watching this video, you will either be able to polish off your own milestone experience, maybe make it even better and customized for you, or maybe shift away from that nasty experience method, or find a beautiful blend of the two. Either way, let's go. If you're unaware what milestone experience is, basically it is when the Dungeon Master decides based on the story, where they're at in the story, what they've accomplished, big milestone moments in the story. After those moments, they level up. But it doesn't have to be milestone big moments. You can choose to level up your party whenever. It's all based on the flow of things. So instead of warding out experience each and every session until they reach certain thresholds and then they level up, this way you just choose as a Dungeon Master when it would make sense for them to level. The number one reason that milestone experience is the best experience is it's freaking easy. You just take a big step back as a Dungeon Master, wait for that moment that feels right, and you level them up. There is zero math and number crunching and calculations that you have to do for this method. Now, I am a former math teacher and absolutely love crunching numbers. I love doing all the math for that, but it's a lot, especially for most people that have aversions to math. It's just a lot, and this milestone, you just like, it feels right. Let's do it. And alongside this, I'll say it first, I used to use the experience method when I first started off. I was like, yeah, let me calculate everything, because I also tried to use the challenge rating method, and the challenge rating method's broken. I could do entire talks about that, and I have before, but if I don't use the challenge rating system, which is also tied partially to the experience system. So if you award experience, you're kind of alongside the CR system, and then there's calculations involved with that. So it's just less efficient. If I'm not using the CR system, then if I were to have to give experience out, I'd have to calculate it based on a system I'm not using, and no. So just sit back, relax, and focus on the story and see when it happens, which brings me to number two. Milestone experience is story focused. When they level up is based on what they do within that story, and usually it makes a lot of sense in the big picture when they should level up. So instead of randomly leveling up because you're on an adventure killing some goblins on the road, and hey, we're level 6 now, instead, maybe it's not that session where you randomly encountered those group of goblins at the end of the session. It's when you get to the back of that goblin cave and you fight the chieftain and you win. Now you're level 6. What a great story moment and sense of accomplishment to pair that up with, which also I guess leads me to number 3. It's a paired reward with other stuff that they do. In these big milestone type of achievements, you usually give out rewards of some kind. They get all the loot and oh my gosh, we leveled up. This feels amazing, and it really elevates these moments that you choose for players to level. Now on the flip side of that, another cool moment is if you know you have these big moments, like here's a big moment, they hit level 6. Here's a big moment, but there's a lot of time between those two moments. As a Dungeon Master, you can be like, okay, well, we'll have this be 6, this will be 8, but now I can figure out something for 7, and maybe in the lull and the downtime between these two big story point arcs, you can have them fight some big scary manticore in the middle of a field that swoops down in on them. They fight it, and at the end of it, they level up. So you just puppet mastered their leveling into a reward, perfectly timed. How great are you? And now the fourth, are we at 4? I don't know. There's just so many reasons to lose track. It is great balancing situation for what you possibly want to do. Here's a story example. One time my players were going to go into Brimclaw's lair, a green dragon inside a waterfall cave. And I had to decide that the current level they're at, it'd be a pretty challenging fight. So if they were just make a beeline straight to the dragon and fight him, it would have been a rough fight, but they might not have been able to do it. But they respected the threat that I applied towards this dragon through NPCs and the lore behind it. And they explored his lair first, looking for tools and abilities to be able to get an edge up on the dragon. And through that journey, part of that journey behind the scenes, behind the screen of my Dungeon Master, I was like, if they go and they do a certain amount of things here, I'm going to reward them with a level up before the fight, and that will make the fight a little easier. Because trust me, I purposely put this dragon on an insane level, the hardest probably disparity between a group ever, and if they didn't go and collect some things and level up and stuff, it would have been real bad. But like I said, I prepared that in the lore and the story and the warnings I gave them beforehand. But milestone experience can be a great opportunity for you as a Dungeon Master to level them up before a moment so that they're at the appropriate level that you feel like they should be for the challenge you prepared for them, or right after it. Because sometimes, this has happened before, your players are about to go fight a boss and they level up before it, and now you're like, all right, well, I was planning for this, So now do you just stomach that and they fight it and it's easier? Or do you now have to do more work as a dungeon master to, okay, now it's good. Why play that game with yourself? Just choose if they level up before the fight or after the fight. Easy. And the fifth point here, which kind of ties into some of the other points, but it just makes sense. It goes with the story, which I guess was point number 2, but it makes sense from a power thematic perspective. After big epic fights that you push your body to the literal limit of spellcasting, the limit of your physical endurance level, the limit of your sword swinging capabilities, you're going to be stronger right after that moment as soon as you recover. Which also I just thought about gives me another thought towards Milestone is you can control after that big fight happens. Do they level up immediately or do they have to get back to a city, recover, have some downtime, and they level up? And another bonus tip, even though that's technically tips 6 and 7, whatever, is you can use Milestone experience in very unique story moments as rewards, combining all these points together. I've had this happen before where a paladin came to an altar of their god, got imbued with extreme power, and they only leveled up, which was a crazy moment at the table. Like, wait, he's level 8 now? That means he gets all these crazy cool features. The rest of the players were level 7. Oh my gosh, that's not fair. No, it's a story moment. And trust me, each of those other players around the table had no qualms or worries about it because they have had individual crazy big spotlight moments for themselves. And for the record, the next session, they all leveled up. So calm down. And also on the trope of levels and what's fair and how long and the spacing and all that kind of stuff. With Milestone, it doesn't have to mathematically make sense. You're not relinquishing your control over the game to numbers and how often they happen, which, yes, I guess you could choose how much experience they get for certain things, so you could trigger it that way as well. But I love to have, one time I had my players level up to level 4, but ultimately I wanted to get them to level 5. I wanted to get them up to that level 5 number to be able to have their extra attacks and all this other cool stuff. So they hit level 4. Cool. And then like a session later, maybe 2 later, they had a big story moment reveal where some NPC imbued them with great power. And I said, you guys level up. They weren't expecting it at all because of the pace of how leveling's been going. Because in general, as you level up, it takes longer in between. But this time it was like level 4, level 5. Oh my gosh, they were surprised. Timeout. Whew, I got carried away with all these points I've been listing off. One thing I do want to say real quick is this system of Milestone and my stance on Milestone, my stance on experience, and this third awesome cool method that I will have a video on coming out soon is all in Alkender's Almanac. Alkender's Almanac is my expansion to Dungeons and Dragons for anyone's game table of the 3 pillars of combat, social encounters, exploration. It is a Dungeon Master's Guide 2.0 of how to run your games across the board. In chapter 1 on the general rules outlines these things and different ways you can implement and put this in your game, along with literally hundreds and hundreds of other systems across all of the categories of the game for you to take, pick and choose, customize, and available on my website. So link in the description, you can see that if it's available on my website, you'll know down in the description. And you have a limited time window left on the hardcover copy of the book because I'm only doing 1 printing run of Alkender's Almanac. To get your hardcover copy, link for that's also down in the description. But either way, it's the single biggest resource that I have ever made. In my opinion, the single best thing that you can use for your games to customize it for you, because you need to play the game the way that's the most fun for you. And I'm just trying to help you do that. So anyway, let's get back into this Milestone thing. Point number 6, or I guess 9, I don't know which one. Who cares at this point? Milestone experience doesn't make your players focus on combat, kill things to get experience. It's bigger than that. It's better than that. It doesn't put the focus on experience gain. Just play the story. Engage with the world, change the world, do stuff, and you will level up. And just the spirit and ambiance of Milestone experience gives players a feeling of, okay, let's just play this game and let's do what our characters would do and let's do what we want to do. And we'll level up eventually. We trust the Dungeon Master, which I will say, devil's advocate moment right here. One thing with Milestone experience, whenever you are giving it out and you are the Dungeon Master, you're controlling what they level, you could start to at some points get those players be like, oh God, we haven't leveled up in a while. Is it time for us to level? You know what I'm saying? And you're going to feel that maybe. And with me myself as a Dungeon Master, be like, yeah, it's just not looking like it yet. You can joke around and say, well, now you're definitely not going to level up, and like joke about it to diffuse the situation. But in general, how I handle it is I handle it straight on and be like, look, I am looking at the big picture of when y'all should level up. And right now, there's just not enough stuff that's happened to push y'all over that ledge. And maybe you as a Dungeon Master know they're about to, or maybe they're not about to. So you need to approach that situation carefully. But that's a great moment as a Dungeon Master to turn into an inspiring moment for them, to kick it back to them and be like, there's just a couple things going on right now, and y'all could do this, and that could be a big moment, or y'all could go here, and that could be a big moment. Maybe if you resolve something with your backstory, whatever's going on, and spur them in towards that direction of getting them to level up. And just, hey, I wouldn't worry about that though. You just focus on doing your thing. I hear your feedback. That's another good point as a dungeon master is I hear that you want to level up fast. I hear you, but just trust me. Now for some tips on milestone leveling and an example of my current homebrew campaign that I'm running right now on my second channel, Dungeon Coach Plays. I give breakdowns every single week that we play on the Dungeon Master perspective breakdown of how the whole session goes, what I thought was going to happen, what happened. Check that out. Link down in the description for Dungeon Coach Plays. But some tips here. Don't pre-script out and lock in when they will level up. I would in general take a big step back, look at the story where it's at, and think of where they might, keyword might, level up, and think, okay, this would maybe be a good spot for them to hit level 4. Okay, and then where would they hit level 5? This is also a good tool as a dungeon master to think ahead and try to think ahead of where your players are going to go and be like, well, I guess there could be a branch here, and I guess if they go to this branch and finish it, that's 5, or if they went this way and finished it, that could be level 5. And where do they go from that? That's maybe when you stop thinking, and maybe they could go backtrack and go here. They could hit level 6 if they went back to that spot. Thinking like this helps you plan out things to see where you're at, but be flexible. Because I've planned for them to hit level 4 at a certain point, but then they really engaged with the city that they were in, wanted to change it, wanted to find out some stuff, wanted to learn more, engaged in a lot of non-combat things, and they got experience for changing the social, all the kind of exploration of the city and the social dynamics, all that stuff. They leveled up to 4 in the city. And there's also a cool moments as dungeon masters when we have this milestone moments that we can say like, I didn't even think y'all were going to level at this point, but yeah, no, y'all are level 4 now. So here's a quick rundown of my current homebrew campaign and when I gave them awards and milestone based on the overall story that was going on. They started the campaign at level 1. I have a whole video on why level 1 is my favorite starting campaign. And if your favorite level to start is level 3, I would encourage you to maybe have 2 sessions of a level 1, a level 2, and then okay, cool, get going and have story reasons why they leveled up. I think that's really fun thing to do. And I have some veteran players at the table that I knew wanted to get to 3rd level, but we're starting off at level 1 because their characters are in a boot camp inside of the nation's army that they're all a part of from their backstories coming together. So the little scrubs in a boot camp, they're level 1, cool. And as soon as they finish the boot camp, how perfect is that? Boom, level 2. So I had a window there to really kick them around as level 1s. They knew they were kind of getting kicked around, and now they have a little bit building into those higher levels because now they're level 2. They get their first mission to go out into the world and do some stuff. They had some options and, sandboxy type stuff. And then they went and chose a direction, went down this path, had a big moment where they're challenging and fighting stuff. And then they hit level 3 after the end of their first little successful mission. And I timed up that level 3 bump as soon as they got back from that mission. They had a section of downtime, and they had about, I think I did 3 weeks or so of downtime, and then all those big key features and abilities that you get at level 3 made a little bit more sense because they were able to have some little role play moments and stuff during downtime to explain how they got all this cool stuff. Now they've proven themselves. They're level 3. They're tried and trusted, successful first mission, and now they have their next mission, which is actually a very big one. And they had some branching options. They chose a secret option of meeting up with a secret contact that is a week's travel very far away into some dangerous territory. They're going to infiltrate another nation's base of operations, and they have to make a long, dangerous travel to do it. So we had about 2 sessions worth of a travel across time and going through, and I ran them through a whole bunch of different travel methods that are also in Alcantar's Almanac that I was actually at the time trying and testing on my players and stuff and really polishing it off. But they're my guinea pigs. It's okay. But once they finally went through all of this arduous journey, they arrived in the dangerous area, met up with their secret contact, and I leveled them to 4. They were a little bit surprised at how quick they leveled because they had just hit level 3 during the downtime. 2 sessions later, now they're level 4. But again, I was kind of fast tracking them to 5th level because 5th level is the most fun and all that kind of stuff. I do have my players level pretty slowly now, which I'll get into in a second, but I want to get them to level 5. So I got there. You made a very dangerous travel. You met your secret contact. They're about to do something really dangerous, so I wanted to kind of bump them up because I knew that the difficulty was here and they're only level 3, so I gave them a little bump to 4. Not that big of a deal, but at least now they're level 4. So now they're back up to speed of where I wanted them to be at level 4 in the middle of this thing. They go through it, they get all the way through it, and they finally escape all of that, and they find an NPC that imbues them with great power, and they level up to 5. And I described this to them, guys, like, you guys are much stronger, because in D&D, 5th level is a very big jump, and I described it like in the story, like lore-wise, mechanics-wise, you are very much stronger. Cool, they're level 5 now, and then they escape, they come up, they have some mass combat, they travel all the way back to the town, they get arrested by the king, they escape the king, they break into the church, they steal an NPC, and they escape, and now they're trapped. My goodness, they've done so much, and they're about to level to 6, because at level, I was fast tracking them to 5, but then all this stuff's going on. I've openly told my players, this is going to be, we're going to level up slowly. It's going to be a more low level campaign. We're not going to get to 20th level here. And they all understand that. They appreciate being 5th level now. They get a bunch of cool things to play with. And then I can really pace it out from there. But they're loving it all along the way. And if I do want to give them more rewards similar to level ups, I have a bonus level up perks. And my God, I've done so many videos on the channel on my bonus level up perk system. I have PDFs on my website. I have full videos going over everything about bonus level up perks, and I will be giving them to those in between 5th and 6th level, 6th and 7th level, and so on, as these levels are going to be a little bit longer. Inserting bonus level up perks in the middle feels good. But how's that insight check you made at the beginning of the video treating you? Because my favorite experience method is not milestone experience. Is it experience? Who knows? Is it this third mystery option? So you'll have to find out later, because in general, YouTube doesn't like posting very similar videos back to back. So in about 2 weeks or so, I'm going to drop my experience is the best video, and you'll see what your thoughts are on that. And then a little bit after that, I'm going to release the third big final picture. And then hopefully this little journey and package deal of videos will help you wrap your head around how you best want to approach handing out experience in Dungeons and Dragons. And I hope if you had a good experience watching this video, no, that was too much, but for real, if you do like what I'm doing here and you like this experience, check out my Patreon. I have a bunch of monthly stuff I give my patrons and rewards to help support the channel, and I'm helping you guys run your games better and easier with more homebrew ideas and tools and resources to use in your games. And check out Outcounter's Almanac. This system's in there along with hundreds of other systems and maybe even 1,000 rules. At least it feels like it. There's a whole bunch of stuff in there. But until next time, stay creative, think outside the box. Peace.